Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone, to another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. I am so excited to talk today with our very special guest. Today, we are going to truly re-emphasize one of the most important lessons that I've ever learned in my entire life. I remember going to a Howard Brinton Star Power event when I was in my first or second year of real estate. And going to events is the greatest thing ever. If you've been listening to our podcast, you know you need to be scheduling these out-of-town clinics, camps, events, conferences, because it allows you to get away, learn from another, and really reflect on your business, kind of give you a 10,000 foot. And that's what I was getting from this event. And one of the things Howard kept kind of reiterating is don't reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just like when you get an idea from someone, just do it like they said to do it. Don't throw your creativity in there. Don't make it your own. Just try it exactly as they send it to you and see what happens. And I'm telling you, I'm a creative guy. I want to make things my own. But when my career really took off is when I took Howard Brinton's advice to heart and didn't reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. You don't have to. So do what works for someone else and do it exactly like they say. And then you've earned the right to be creative. Once you've implemented, you've earned the right to be creative. You don't earn the right to be creative until you have put it into place. And I will tell you that's some of the best advice I ever got. And honestly, you might be able to shut down this podcast right there and just take that advice and run with it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Take what somebody else is doing, somebody successful. Success leaves clues. Pick up the clues and put them into your business and implement them exactly as they are. And then over time, you're going to be able to hone that to make it more you and more conducive to you, your market, and your team, whatever it may be, your location. So bottom line is don't reinvent the wheel. And we're going to talk about that at length today. And I'll tell you what, speaking of Howard Brinton as a mentor, Howard Brinton gets our shout out today too. Howard Brinton said, ready to stop wasting money on advertising? Learn from the man who built a world-class business by investing in relationships. It's warm. It's effective. Michael J. Maher has shown that building a referral generating community is not only a nicer way of doing business, but a superior business model that can work for you. Howard Brinton is the founder and former CEO of Star Power Systems. He's a Hall of Fame speaker, spoke for RE/MAX, CRS, one of my 4 mentors in life. Rest in peace, Howard Brinton. We're thinking about you today. Thank you for all you did and all the connections and community that you built. And thank you for those kind words. And that's our shout out. And then I'm telling you, also, I want to do a quick call to action. Some of you have been on the fence a little bit about taking an Event Mastery. Listen, go to eventmastery.com and check it out. Just check it out. Look and see what we're doing and then make your decision. Event Mastery is referrals guaranteed. If you show up for the 8 weeks of class and you implement the system, you will get referrals. Referrals are guaranteed. And in fact, we're going to talk today to someone that got 13 referrals from her last event. But what if I told you that's not even the best result from that event? Think about that for a second. So without further ado, let's talk about our guest today. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're thrilled to welcome Brenda Miertschin, an accomplished associate broker with eXp Realty in Arizona. With over 25 years of experience in the real estate industry, Brenda has become known for building trusted, lasting relationships with her clients. Her journey is remarkable. Not only did she serve 8 years of active duty in the U.S. Air Force, thank you for your service, then an additional 12 as a military spouse. I'm not going to ask her which of those two were more difficult, but she's also navigated an incredible 23 relocations during her adult life. This personal who has sold more than herself. That's amazing. This personal experience has given her unmatched empathy and expertise in helping clients through their moves. Brenda also holds an executive MBA in international business and lives the get by giving philosophy, embodying generosity in her work and life. Recently, she achieved extraordinary success with event-based marketing, and we can't wait to dive into her story. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Brenda Miertschin to our podcast.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for inviting me to be a participant today. Look forward to it.
Well, we're glad to have you and love it. You were referred to me by someone else. So that's how this referrals podcast thing works. And I love it. I heard about your successes and I just like, we have to talk to her. We have to learn more about it. And I have to say, one of the best things I love about your intro is that you have 23 personal relocations. And I truly believe that every realtor should be forced to move every 3 years, like a military service. I think you serve for 3 years and then you've got to move houses, no matter what, even if it's down the street, you've got to move just to get the empathy and sympathy that is involved with someone moving, because you really don't get it until you've moved, right?
This is true. Yes.
Just setting up a utility, is a like a thing, right? I mean, just getting to know your neighbors, getting to know the roads. It just, I love that you've got that personal experience and you've got that sympathy for everybody that you work with because you've done it so often. And also you've probably created some systems to do that. But what I want to dive into today is what inspired you to kind of dive into the event-based marketing system as part of your real estate strategy. Like what made you decide to invest in events?
Well, it's a funny story and I'll keep it short, but the idea of hosting events has always appealed to me. And I've actually attended Event Mastery prior to the one this past year 2 other times. And for no other reason than the excuse of feeling a little bit overwhelmed of taking on a big event. I just didn't implement. So this time, I'll tell you a quick short story. In September 23, my husband experienced a serious health condition and he became my focus. And I am a referral-based business. That has been my business the entire time. And it wasn't until June of 2024 when I could really refocus on my business. And so because I was kind of disconnected with my sphere of influence, when you announced or I received your email that you were hosting Event Mastery last year, I knew it was time to jump in. And so I fully committed.
I love it. And you're in Referral Mastery Academy. So the other courses have been there and you've taken some of the other courses, but Event Mastery was kind of on the back burner. And then you're like, all right, I can now give it the time that it needs, and focus on that. And, started doing that in June and July, right? We run a spring, summer, and fall. We run 3 editions of Event Mastery during the year. All right. So you followed the Event Mastery system, and from what I have typed right here, you generated 32 outgoing referrals for your sponsors and 13 real estate referrals for yourself. Those are incredible numbers. Most people don't get 13 referrals a year, and most people probably don't track or know how many outgoing referrals they've sent, but 32 in one day, pretty impressive total. What were the key strategies or steps from Event Mastery class that you really feel like contributed to those results?
Well, a lot, and I could teach a whole class right now.
I love that you could do that.
I think for me, the key thing, because I have a list of key takeaways that I followed. But the key was my sponsors, selecting the right sponsors for your event that you can trust to partner with and really host an event effectively was key to my event of achieving that many referrals for them. And that was my number one fear was, could I bring on sponsors and get them referrals? Because that was important to me.
Yeah, I love that. Right. And your focus on the outgoing referrals probably helped generate the 13 incoming referrals as well, which is always an interesting kind of pseudo intellectual thing that happens. And here's the thing that I love is so you jumped in June and July, you did an event. It was kind of, you were kind of tiptoeing in, and then you jumped full bore into the fall and you did the Great Pie Day giveaway, right?
That's
So
correct.
you didn't rename it. You didn't change it up. You literally said, I'm going to do this pie day like the wheel that has already been invented. And I love that. Don't reinvent the wheel, right? That's the theme of the day for me, especially today. And it's one of those where, okay, so what I have to say something on the sponsors because there's an adjustment I made in the fall that I had never done before in event mastery. In event mastery was always 7 weeks, 7 main sessions with 7 learn with the pro sessions on the end of the week, Fridays. And I added a session, and the entire session is called sponsor mastery. And what you just said is why I added an entire session on sponsor mastery is because we needed to know we could get them. We needed to know that we could get referrals for them. And we needed to know how to under promise, over deliver with sponsor partners. Um, and there was so much to it that I was like, I can't just teach this as part of a session. It's got to be its own session. So I'm so glad that that was kind of your lead in that was one of the most important parts of your event. So I absolutely love that. Um, how many sponsors did you have?
6.
So you had 6 sponsors.
Yep.
And you've done events before, right?
Small, really small events. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, how many sponsors had you had at previous events?
None.
Yeah. So you went from none to 6. What was the investment from your sponsor partners? How much total did they invest?
I only asked this time out 300 each.
Yeah, I mean, that's not an only. Some people ask for 50 or 0, and some people ask for 100. So you asked for a great amount. That's a very doable amount for most sponsor partners. And they didn't even know the referrals were coming. So, you know, that's even better. They just thought they were going to get their logo on stuff. So 6 sponsors, 300. And what did the event cost you?
About 2,500.
2,500.
Yeah. I
So
invested a little bit extra for signage and that kind of stuff that I can reuse.
okay. Love that. And I love the reusable signs. That's part of marketing mastery, right? Don't make your signs just for this event, right?
Yeah,
So, all right. So you ended up having some out of pocket for this event.
I did. And I actually anticipated more than what I spent, spending more than what I did. So,
Yeah. So at least you got over half of it was covered by sponsors and partners and that kind of thing. So love that. What day did you do your Great Pie Day giveaway?
Tuesday evening from 4:30 to 6:30, 2 days
Okay.
before Thanksgiving.
Perfect timing, right? How
Yeah,
many people did you have show up?
65.
Oh, here we go. Did you give away 65 pies?
No, some of them were couples. I think
Yeah.
there was a total of 47 pies. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's what's really cool is how do you know you had 65 people show up?
Well, because everybody filled out a door entry.
Boom. They're documented, right? So we
Yeah.
know these things. I mean, so many people have events and I go, how many did you have? Oh, I don't know, 30, 40, 60. They don't even know. But that's what I mean, numbers are important. We got to track our ROI. We've got to track our engagement. If you're going to have an event, you should track it so you know how to do better the next time. So I love that you know exactly how many. I love exactly how many pies you gave away. So I love that. Now, so to you, what was the difference between June and July's Event Mastery and the fall edition of Event Mastery?
Of the course itself,
Yeah.
me, I was
Yeah.
more engaged.
Yeah. You were more ready,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes,
And more engaged, and you were committed.
yes, very much so, because I hired a coach.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you hired an Event Mastery coach, one of our 2 coaches that we offer during the session. And who did you hire? Let's give a shout out.
Tommy.
Tommy. So you really overcame a lot, Brenda. I mean, you did an event and had to overcome coaching from Tommy. I'm just kidding. Tommy is one of our best coaches. So you got a good one. So how did they help you bring the event mastery principles to life and the strategies into play?
Well, I'm going to say, like most realtors, we like to be perfect,
Mm-hmm.
right? Perfect gets in my way anyway of implementation,
Yeah.
because we're always changing things. And so when I would get stuck on being perfect, Tommy would say, don't be perfect, keep it simple.
Mm,
And so that was kind of my theme too, keep it simple. Don't reinvent the wheel. And so I got stuck on the invitation. I wanted it to be perfect.
right.
And he helped me with that. And, that kept me moving forward, right?
Yeah. And isn't it, I mean, I hate to oversimplify this, but isn't it kind of good to have somebody watching you on a weekly basis just to make sure you're getting the stuff done,
Yes,
right? That
because
gentle accountability.
he kept it small too. And you did too in your assignments, just focus on these 2 or 3 things each week. And before you know it, you're ready for full implementation. So it's really staying focused on just a couple of things and not the big picture to help walk you through getting there.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone who may be considering the coaching as they go through?
Why wouldn't you do it? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you talk about ROI, it's the best investment because you're going to get to the end, assuming you do your role, right? Your
Yep.
part, and the outcome was just fabulous. I would do it again, even though I've done it once. I would do it again.
Yeah, that's the testament right there. And also that's a testament to you, Brenda, about that you're in growth mode. Where we have trouble is when somebody takes event mastery and then they think they're the expert. I don't know. I did a really good podcast. I don't know. It's probably been a year or so ago, but they ran the first one and they followed the system and they were in the class. Then they did an event in the summer and they're like, we're going to do this one on our own. It was a huge fiasco. They signed back up in the fall, ran the system, and had their best event of the year, right? And it's like, be in growth mode, right? Always be in growth mode. And sometimes we kind of overplay our hand and say, no, I've got this. But the thing is, what I love about event mastery, it's like 7L. Every time you read the book, you're going to pick up another strategy, another thing that Rick did, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even get that the first time. Event mastery is the same way. You're going to pick up on things that are like, oh, the smells. Yes, we can do something at the event. Or the music. We didn't have music. We need to have some sounds. But whatever it is, you can always pick up on one little thing. And how many people actually do all 3 of the referral systems in an event? Not many. So the goal as you go through is the first event, do one of the referral systems. The second event, do 2, and then the third event, do all 3 of the referral systems, and you'll get the referrals. So love that, and love your humility and that you're in growth mode doing it. All right, so you generated 32 outgoing referrals for your sponsor partners. That's extraordinary. Congratulations on that.
Thank
How
you.
did your sponsor partners respond, and how has that impacted your relationship with them?
They were actually pretty amazed because, as you alluded to earlier, while I had shared there was this opportunity, they really didn't anticipate receiving.
Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah. And so they were completely surprised. And of course, ecstatic, right? Happy
Yeah.
and ready to go. What's next?
Ready to sponsor that next event, right?
They are on board for whatever event I want to sponsor or host. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say that's the thing with the system, right? Once a sponsor sponsors, they're never going to not sponsor.
Yeah.
They're unless you say, like I had a lender when I first started doing these that was super aggressive and just thought people wanted to be educated on interest rates and his loan programs. And I warned him once and just said, "Hey, listen, like this is not the spirit. The spirit of this event is fun. I'm going to get stuff for you. I'm going to get it for you. You don't worry. Just smile and wave, smile and fist bump, have fun." And then the next event, he did the same stuff and was kind of irritating. And so guess what? No more sponsor. I had to get another lender to sponsor. And then that lender was freaking awesome. And we did a ton of things together that was very good for his business. Um, so what sponsors did you have? Like of what were the six sponsors? What were their professions or companies?
I had a lender. I chose sponsors specifically thinking of the end of the year and what would people need.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can remember. I had a lender, I had a contractor, I had a personal investor, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or personal finance planner.
Yep.
I had a tax accountant.
Okay.
I had a auto shop. I have a friend who owns an auto shop, so she was a sponsor. And then my title company, they actually designed a lot of the marketing for me. So
Yeah.
they were a part of it also.
Wow.
Mhm.
I love that. The one that I love the most is the auto shop because we don't too often, especially in real estate, we think of the ancillary businesses and the auxiliary businesses all the time. But we forget that our sphere is probably a bunch of entrepreneurs as well. Not all of them, but there are opportunities. And, sending an email to your sphere that says, "I'm having an event. Would you like to talk about sponsoring?" has turned into more great sponsorship opportunities than I ever dreamed that it would. Right. So I love that the auto shop. And did the auto shop get some? By the way, an auto shop that you can trust is worth its weight in gold. So did they get some referrals from it?
They did. They got 7.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a good one. That you're going to be able to refer them at every event
Mhm.
because people don't think about it until they have a problem.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, 13 real estate referrals. We're talking about a month later, right? So
Yeah.
what has been the follow-up process since the event?
So I typically in December, I do not call people. It's just kind of, the holiday. I respect that. But I did follow up with everyone who came.
Yep.
And or everyone got a thank you, but I mean specifically to the 13, I did call them. 4 of them invited me to their home for coffee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they're going to sell this year and they wanted me to pop over and see their home and what they've done and start preparing. So, yeah. So
Well,
all of them are on my calendar. All of them are doing something different throughout the year. And they're on my calendar for specific dates on follow-up.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
When you were putting the event together, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced when it came to planning and execution of your event? And what did you do to overcome those challenges?
Well, my first challenge was the location. Because being in Phoenix, I have clients that are 50 plus miles away and family,
Mhm.
quite frankly.
Yep.
But there was a session where I believe it was you that said, don't worry about where they are. If you want to invite them, and they'll come if they want, right? So
That's right.
that. So location was initially, then it was the invitation. And Tommy helped me with the invitation. And then I really had a hard time in the invitation up front asking for referrals.
In the RSVP?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
I did not overcome that one, to
Yeah.
be
All
honest.
good. All good. But here's the thing. Even though you didn't, you had it at the event,
I did. Yeah.
right? So it's
Yeah.
all good. So now with your next event, you just add it to your RSVP form, Google form, and see what happens, right?
Right.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and that is part of the deal is you're database, your sphere, the 65 people who came to the event, they didn't even know you wanted or needed referrals. They just think Brenda's a big shot in real estate. She's so successful, she doesn't need our help or our business or our referrals or anything else, right? Then when they see it on the form, they start to understand, oh, okay, like she wants referrals. She needs referrals. I didn't even think about that before. And you start to build a referral culture. So that's already starting to happen. And the fact that you got back with the referrals really quickly is also, that's how you show that you appreciate referrals. How do you show you appreciate referrals? You respond very quickly and thoroughly. And love that you did that. So love that. And
Add a point.
yeah.
So one of those coffee sessions that I had, the couple actually brought up the entry form and they loved it.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah,
said,
while you were hesitant, you were like, I'm
yes,
not sure about it. This
yes.
is making me nervous. This is scary, right? You're just like Toral. Where's Toral White? That's a shout out to Toral. Toral was so scared. She's generated 5,000 referrals from that damn form. I want my referral fee, Toral. You heard me. Oh, sorry. No, people are scared of the form. I get it.
They loved it. They thought it was done very nicely. So I appreciated that feedback.
It's subtle and it's indirect and it's respectful. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So if someone is listening and they're considering or watching on YouTube, check us out on YouTube. We are Get Referrals on YouTube, youtube.com/Get Referrals. And subscribe so you know when the next one's up. If they're considering hosting their first event, but they do feel overwhelmed, what advice would you give them?
Well, that's simple. Pick an event. I would say pick an event that calls to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you would enjoy, and then make it a party and host it. Attend Event Mastery. It's a step-by-step system, right? You wrote it out for us. We just got to follow it, and then hire a coach. It's worth the investment to you and your business. The ROI is off the charts, right?
Yeah.
So I would just do it.
All right. So now you're doing events, right? You've always wanted to do them. Now you're doing them. How has this experience of actually following the system and it being a success, how has that changed your perspective on growing your real? I mean, you've been in business for what, 25 years?
Yeah.
I mean, congratulations and kudos for not being that damn lady on the phone who goes, I've been in business for 25 years. And it's like, yeah, okay. So you've been performing your first year in real estate, 25 straight years. Let's talk. But anyway, that's another story about my annoyances. I literally just had a conversation like that. I just want you to know it. Yeah. I'm an investor too. So I get to deal with realtors all the time. And, there's some good and there's some bad, just like any industry. But so how has that changed your perspective on growing your real estate business? And kudos to you for 25 years later being open to change.
I think for me, because cold calling has never been my thing. Right when I started, I just said I want to be by referral only. And so that's what I've always worked towards.
Yeah.
And so events is in my opinion, of course, events is the most simplest way of staying connected to your sphere and your leads. I didn't invite leads, but I could do that, right? If I needed to. It's the best way to stay connected and out there in front of everyone, having fun, doing something that you enjoy, and naturally you'll attract what you want to attract.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, who would have thought that lead generation could be fun?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's one thing that you'd like the listeners to take away from your story today? Like words of wisdom or like, bottom line slogan or motto.
All of us have those fears of implementing something new, right? Not knowing, failing, etc. We have a turnkey system that we can use. use it and go out and have fun. Do something that you like, hire a coach, have them help you implement, and, get your feet wet, dip your toes in the water. I think if people try it, they'll enjoy it and they'll be surprised. And their sponsors will be too. Don't be afraid to ask people for help, maybe, because we all think that we can do anything and everything, but ask for help. It's more fun.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. What were you most surprised about? Were you surprised it worked?
Yes. Well, I'm an introvert.
Me too.
So, you encouraged us to be the center of attraction at the event, which is not my thing. I would, I'm okay mingling, but I don't want to be the person the social butterfly. So that was tough for me too. But yes, it was really fun. It's a lot of work. I mean, to get it together, but it was so enjoyable. I don't know why I waited.
Yeah. Well, as an introvert, I can tell you sometimes the best place to hide is at a busy event, right?
Yeah.
And the extroverts are going to talk to the extroverts. I'll tell you, like an extrovert, they're all over event mastery. I can't even keep them away from it, right? They're like, "Oh, party my way to success. Let's go." The ones who I wrote this for are the introverts like myself, because we're not going to be social butterflies. We're not going to be out there talking about ourselves. We're not going to go talk to people at all, probably. So what do we have to do to generate leads, especially referrals? We're going to need to get the extroverts together. That's what an event. Who attends events? It's extroverts. Well, the best thing you can do is get one of your extroverts who loves you to talk to another extrovert who loves you or likes you, right? Even if they both like you, well, when they meet each other and go, "Oh, you like Brenda too?" "Yeah, I like Brenda." They both go, "Oh, we love Brenda." And then when they part ways, they go to the world with a "I love Brenda" slogan tattooed to their forehead, or at least, put stitched to their heart. So like plus like equals two loves. And when that really makes a difference is with extroverts, because they're going to talk about you, not you, right? You're going to be great at the appointment. You're going to be great at listing houses. You're going to be great at one-to-ones. You're going to be great at that. It's guess what? The events lead to one-to-ones. They lead to appointments. They lead to the other stuff. So here's the other thing. You can host an event and not even be there. Honestly, you could do that. So
Yeah.
it's one of those where I love that you brought that up, because, if you're an extrovert, you're already signed up for Event Mastery. If you're an introvert, you got to sign up for Event Mastery, because you need to mobilize your extroverts into an army of ambassadors who speak highly of you and refer you willingly. And this is the plan. This is the system that makes that happen. So love that. Love that. And you're in Phoenix, Arizona, right?
I am. Yeah.
Yep.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona. She's with the XP. She is kicking butt in the Phoenix area, and send all your referrals to her. She's awesome. And all right, so you're signed up for the spring edition, right?
I am.
Yeah. Not only are you in Event Mastery, you're in Referral Mastery Academy. So it's just part of your subscription. You don't have to pay $1,000 for Event Mastery. You can just pay $99 for RMA and get into Event Mastery. So I love that. And then, what event are you going to do? Do you know yet?
Well, I am not doing a spring event,
Okay.
but I am doing a summer event, and it's a
Yep.
movie event.
Okay. Love it. A lot of summer blockbusters coming out. So
Yeah.
that'll be good. And we're going to teach about movie events. So that's, in fact, I'm going to be talking quite a bit about that in the spring. So make sure you're going through Event Mastery, and you're going to love the new book, the new playbook. Oh yeah. It's, I've literally spent the last 2 weeks, 3 hours a day on it. So I'm excited.
Looking forward to that. Yeah.
Always getting better. Always getting better. Honing towards mastery. Progress, not perfection, right?
That's right. That's right.
And don't reinvent the wheel.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Brenda, I just want to say thank you so much for being our guest here today on Referrals Podcast. You knocked it out of the park. This has been great, and congratulations on your event success. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your system.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, here's the thing. That's why I do it, right? If you just have this great checklist and this great system that nobody does, it's not fulfilling whatsoever. But that's why I've spent 3 hours a day for 2 weeks on it, is because we have people like you who are implementing it and having huge success. So your implementation motivates me, and I am very appreciative of that. So good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, this is one you're going to play over and over and over again. And I hope, if you were going to, like, I have this saying for my Referral Mastery Academy members, and it's like, if a guy who's breaking records starts to sound like a broken record, you should probably start listening to him. And I know some of you are like, Maher is all over events. I'm all over events. I'm on an event rampage this year because guess what? TCPA, the Consumer Protection Act, the do not call list, do not knock list, they're making that form of business a lot harder to do and a lot more expensive. Meanwhile, we're over here building relationships to the point of referrals, and they're making it easier for us to do business. So guess what? There's a path here. There's a system here. We invite you to get on that path, get on that train. But yeah, you're right. I'm going to sound like a broken record all year this year. But guess what? When a guy who's breaking records sounds like a broken record, it's time to start listening. So I hope that you got a ton out of this, and you listen to it over and over again. The one song that I hope repeats itself to you is don't reinvent the wheel. Run the system. When all else fails, do what your coach said to do. Listen to your coach and do what your coach said to do. And that's it. So hopefully you're on board. We'd love to have you. Check out eventmastery.com, or better yet, just become an ambassador. Sign up at referralmasteryacademy.com. Use the code EMPodcast, EMPodcast, and it gets you into the Referral Mastery Academy at a great deal. So we'd love to have you. And also, if you enjoyed what you heard here, you're going to love our Generosity Generation group. Go to joingengen.com, join the Generosity Generation. It is free. Answer 2 or 3 questions, and let's start getting you some referrals. And man, here's the thing. I thoroughly enjoyed today. And I also know what the next podcast is. And you are going to want to make sure that you're automatically downloading those podcasts, because the next one is going to blow your mind. So, ladies and gentlemen, I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great one out there. And thanks again for listening and watching the Referrals Podcast.